Because of the way that George Floyd died in the US, the Black Lives Matter message has become a movement, a worldwide conversation, and something on which we all have an opinion, whether we express it openly or not. What does one of the most famous verses in the Bible teach us about this? What does it tell us about God's attitude towards black lives? John 3:16 says, "For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him should not perish, but have everlasting life." So, if we look at John 3:16, we see that God so loved the world. That means all humanity, all lives, including black lives. God's message is to all humanity, whatever colour, race or ethnicity. Everyone, all. God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, his first and only born. All lives matter so much to God that it was his plan to send his only Son, Jesus, into this world. God, in all his holiness, purity, and sinlessness, became a man with all the sorrows and suffering that we experience, and more suffering, so much more suffering. This perfect Son of God did no wrong, said no wrong, and thought no wrong. Yet he suffered and died on a cross for false accusations to satisfy a crowd who wanted blood. The truth is that Jesus needed to die. He allowed himself to die. Why? Because God the Father is pure and holy, and we most certainly are not. The Bible describes even our good works as filthy rags. We are sinners, wrongdoers, guilty before a holy and pure God. We can never please our Creator by what we do. In order to forgive and accept people like me and you, somebody had to take the punishment we deserve. Justice had to be served. Jesus Christ took that punishment when he died on the cross. You can be forgiven, even for those things that nobody else knows about. Isn't that wonderful? John 3:16 goes on to say that whoever believes in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. So, if you believe in Jesus Christ and what he has done for you, not only are your sins forgiven, but God looks at you and sees his Son's perfection, not your sin. What a tremendous swap. Your sin laid on Christ, Christ's righteousness and perfection given to you. That's what makes you acceptable to a holy and pure God. That's what allows you to call him Father. That's what gives you entry to heaven instead of forever dying in hell. That's what gives you the everlasting life that John 3:16 talks about. You see, life matters to God. Lives matter to God. All lives matter to God. And more personally, your life matters to God. I'd just like to read the verses of a hymn you might recognize. I stand amazed in the presence of Jesus the Nazarene and wonder how he could love me, a sinner condemned, unclean. How marvellous, how wonderful, and my song shall ever be, how marvellous, how wonderful is my Saviour's love to me. He took my sins and my sorrows, he made them his very own. He bore the burden to Calvary and suffered and died alone. How marvellous, how wonderful, and my song shall ever be. How marvellous, how wonderful is my Saviour's love to me.